أعوذ بالله الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم ربي زدني علما وارزقني فهما. Inshallah, today in our presentation we shall be talking about the 7 steps to effective decision making. You will remember that in our last presentation we were talking about the leadership skills and the qualities of a good leader. So a good leader should be very effective when it comes to decision making. So our presentation will focus more on the steps that a leader has to take when or before making a decision. But before we continue, I'd like you to please like and subscribe to our channel to receive frequent updates. So the first thing, before we start talking about the steps of effective decision making, we really have to know what is a decision. A decision can be defined as a course of action purposely chosen from a set alternatives to achieve certain goals or objectives. So basically a decision is that you have many options, and from those options you have to choose the best. So these are the steps, the 7 steps, okay, that must be followed when you want to make an effective decision. The first step is to identify the problem. Number 2, gather information. Number 3, identify alternatives. Number 4, weigh the alternatives. Number 5, choose among alternatives. Number 6, take action. Then lastly, review your decision. So we shall tackle these steps one after the other. So let us start with the first step. The first step is to identify the problem. Try to clearly define the nature of the problem. Okay, you must make by identifying the problems and prioritizing it into important and urgent. So this is a very important step. First of all, you have to ask yourself, is there a problem? If the answer is yes, then there is a need to take a decision. If the answer is no, then there is no need to take a decision. Then the issue of to prioritize the problems. There are some problems that are important, and some of the problems are urgent. So it is very important. This is the first important step. That is the problem identification. Number 2, gather relevant information. Collect enough information before you make your decision. What information is needed, the best sources of information, and how to get it. This step involves both internal and external work. Some information is internal. You'll seek it through a process of self-assessment. Other information is external. You'll find it online, in books, from other people, and from other sources. Step 3, identify the options or the alternatives. As you collect information, you will probably identify several possible paths of action or alternatives. You can also use your imagination and additional information to construct new alternatives. In this step, you will list all possible and desirable alternatives. Step 4, weigh the options. Draw on your information and emotion to imagine what it would be like if you carried out each of the alternatives to the end. Evaluate whether the need identified in step 1 will be met or resolved through the use of each alternative. As you go through this difficult internal process, you will begin to favor certain alternatives, those that seem to have a higher potential for reaching your goal. Finally, place the alternatives in a priority order based upon your own value system. Step 5, choose among alternatives. Once you have weighed all the evidence, you are ready to select the alternative that seems to be best one for you. You may even choose a combination of alternatives. Your choice in step 5 may very likely be the same or similar to the alternative you placed at the top of your list at the end of step 4. Step 6, take action. You are now ready to take some positive action by beginning to implement the alternative you chose in step 5. Step 7. Review your decision and its consequences. This is the last step and it is very important. In this final step, consider the result of your decision and evaluate whether or not it has resolved the need you identified in step 1. If the decision has not met the identified need, you may want to repeat certain steps of the process to make a new decision. For example, you might want to gather more detailed or somewhat different information or explore additional alternatives. So, in summary, management is essentially a bundle of decision making process. The managers of an enterprise are responsible for making decisions and ascertaining that the decisions made are carried out in accordance with defined objectives or goals. The entire managerial process is based on decisions. Decisions are needed both for tackling the problems as well as for taking maximum advantage of the opportunities available. Correct decisions reduce complexities, uncertainties, and diversities of the organizational environment. So that is the end of our presentation. Thank you for your attention. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Press the bell icon and never miss any update. Jazakumullahu khair.